Hello, friends. Welcome to my channel United States. We explore the fascinating world of old and rare coins from around the world. In every video, we dive deep into the history, value, and interesting facts about some of the most collectible and valuable coins ever minted. If you love coin collecting or simply enjoy learning about history through coins, you're in the right place. Make sure to watch the video till the end. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel for regular updates on valuable coins you might have in your collection. Person with praying hands, thanks for your support. Let's get started. The United States of America 1924 5-cent coin, known to collectors and historians as a buffalo nickel or Indian head nickel, is one of the most celebrated and culturally significant coins in American numismatic history. Designed by the master sculptor James Earl Fraser, whose small initial F appears beneath the date on the obverse, this coin stands as a tribute to America's heritage, spirit, and artistry. Minted during the vibrant yet turbulent period of the Roaring Twenties, the 1924 issue reflects both the progress and nostalgia of a nation that was simultaneously embracing modernity and honoring its past. Every detail of this coin, from the noble profile of the Native American to the majestic bison on the reverse, tells a story about identity, endurance, and the natural power that once defined the North American landscape. The 1924 Buffalo nickel is not just a coin. It is a piece of history, a miniature sculpture struck in copper nickel that embodies the raw character and strength of the United States itself. On the obverse side, front, of the coin is a striking portrait of a Native American chief, facing right. This powerful and lifelike depiction is not modeled after one specific person, but rather a composite portrait created by Fraser, who combined the features of several prominent Native American leaders. Historical sources identify Iron Tail, a Sioux, Two Moons, a Cheyenne, and possibly John Big Tree, the Seneca, as the men who inspired this enduring image. Fraser's goal was not to capture one individual, but to represent the dignity, wisdom, and courage of an entire people. The attention to detail, the furrowed brow, the sharp profile, the feathered headdress, and the deep lines of experience makes this one of the most realistic and emotionally evocative portraits in all of U.S. coinage. The word liberty appears to the right of the head, symbolizing the freedom that defines a nation, while the date 1924 is engraved below the neckline. Beneath the date lies the small but important letter F, which represents the artist James Earl Fraser. Many collectors and casual observers often mistake this for a mint mark, but it is in fact the designer's signature, his mark of pride on a work that would circulate for generations. The reverse side, back, of the 1924 Buffalo nickel features one of the most enduring images in American numismatic art, a majestic American bison, commonly referred to as a buffalo. The animal stands solidly on a small mound, facing left, symbolizing the power, resilience, and enduring spirit of the American frontier. The model for this depiction was a real bison named Black Diamond, who lived in the Central Park Zoo in New York City in the early 1900s. Fraser's design captures the creature's bulk and strength with remarkable accuracy. The curved horns, shaggy fur, and muscular body are rendered with sculptural precision. Above the bison appear the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum, the national motto meaning out of many, one, representing the unity of the states and people who make up the nation. Beneath the bison is a denomination 5 cents. The early versions of the Buffalo nickel feature the word 5 cents raised on the mound, but this caused the inscription to wear quickly in circulation, so later issues, including those from 1924, featured the text recessed into the design to make it more durable. The overall composition evokes the untamed beauty of America's wilderness, the might of its wildlife, and the enduring relationship between people and land that shaped the nation's character. The composition of the 1924 5-cent coin is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a distinctive silvery gray appearance that was both durable and practical for circulation. The coin weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, with a plain, smooth edge. In 1924, the Buffalo nickel was struck at 3 mints: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, the Denver Mint, D, and the San Francisco Mint, S. The Philadelphia issue had the largest mintage, exceeding 21 million coins, while the Denver Mint struck about 5.25 million, and the San Francisco Mint produced around 1.4 million, making the 1924 Buffalo nickel the rarest and most valuable of the three. Due to its low mintage and typically weak strikes, the 1924 issue is especially prized among collectors, particularly in higher grades. The raised relief and intricate design cause the buffalo nickels to wear down quickly in circulation, so well-preserved examples are much less common today. The historical background of the 1924 buffalo nickel adds further depth to its significance. The year 1924 fell within the Roaring Twenties, a time of prosperity, innovation, and cultural transformation in the United States. Jazz music filled the air, automobiles were becoming common, and cities were growing rapidly. Yet, even amid this progress, Americans felt a deep connection to their history and heritage. The buffalo nickel, with its distinctly American themes, symbolized that connection. It reminded citizens of a nation's frontier past, its indigenous peoples, and the wildlife that had once roamed freely across the plains. It served as both a work of art and a piece of everyday commerce, something ordinary people carried in their pockets that spoke to their identity as Americans. The coin production also reflected a period when U.S. coin design was undergoing a renaissance, with sculptors and artists like Fraser, St. Gordon's, and Weinman creating designs that elevated coins from mere tools of trade to national symbols of beauty and pride. In numismatic terms, the 1924 F Buffalo nickel is a highly collectible coin that continues to capture the imagination of coin enthusiasts worldwide. The F initial beneath the date identifies James Earl Fraser as a designer and stands as a hallmark of artistic excellence. Collectors pay close attention to key details such as the sharpness of the buffalo's horn and tail, the clarity of the Native Americans' hair and braids, and the presence of strong luster or toning. The 1924 S issue, in particular, is known for being poorly struck and heavily worn, so finding examples with clear details is a significant challenge and adds greatly to their numismatic value. Even circulated pieces carry historical significance, as each one tells a story of the time it passed through, the 1920s, when America was growing, experimenting, and redefining itself. Culturally, the buffalo nickel occupies a unique place in American art and identity. Fraser's decision to depict Native Americans and a buffalo rather than mythological figures or presidents was revolutionary for its time. It was the first U.S. coin to so vividly portray genuine American subjects, marking a move away from European influences in design. The imagery reflects a country's appreciation for its natural beauty and its acknowledgement, however symbolic, of the Native American contribution to the nation's heritage. The buffalo, a creature once hunted to near extinction, also serves as a symbol of survival and regeneration, much like the nation itself. In conclusion, the 1924 United States of America 5-cent coin marked with the F initial stands as one of the most powerful artistic and historical expressions ever minted in American coinage. It unites artistry, culture, and history in a single design, the Native American chief representing the strength and spirit of the nation's people, and the buffalo representing the endurance and majesty of its land. The United States of America 1927 F 5-cent coin, widely known as a buffalo nickel or Indian head nickel, stands as one of the most iconic, artistically revered, and symbolically meaningful coins ever issued by the U.S. Mint. Designed by the celebrated sculptor James Earl Fraser, whose initial F appears subtly beneath the date on the obverse, this coin serves as a powerful tribute to America's frontier heritage, its native peoples, and its natural wilderness. The 1927 Buffalo nickel belongs to a series that ran from 1913 to 1938, a period of profound economic, social, and cultural transformation in the United States. Each coin from this series, including the 1927 issue, carries with it not just monetary value but the essence of a nation, its resilience, its diversity, and its evolving identity. The year 1927, nestled within the prosperity of the Roaring Twenties, reflects a time when America was industrializing rapidly, embracing innovation, yet still yearning to remember its roots, the rugged landscapes, the open plains, and the indigenous cultures that shaped its early story. The obverse front of the 1927 Buffalo nickel features a bold and lifelike portrait of a Native American chief, facing to the right. This image is not a depiction of one specific person, but rather a composite portrait combining the features of several Native American leaders whom Fraser personally met and studied. Historical accounts suggest that the models for this design were Iron Tail, a Sioux, Two Moons, a Cheyenne, and possibly John Big Tree, a Seneca. Fraser's artistic intent was to capture the strength, pride, and wisdom of all Native American peoples, creating a universal symbol of courage and dignity. The finely sculpted lines in the hair, the feathers, and the determined expression all contribute to the coin's emotional depth and realism. The word liberty is inscribed along the right edge, signifying the nation's core ideal of freedom, while the date 1927 is placed just below the neck of the portrait. Directly beneath the date appears a small letter F, which is not a mint mark but rather Fraser's personal signature, acknowledging his authorship of this historic design. This inclusion of the artist's initial was uncommon for its time and symbolized a growing respect for artistry in American coin design. The reverse back of the coin presents a magnificent image of an American bison, often referred to as a buffalo, standing proudly on a raised mound of earth. The animal's form exudes power and majesty, its thick mane, curved horns, and muscular body captured in remarkable detail. Fraser based his design on a real-life model named Black Diamond, a bison who resided at the Central Park Zoo in New York City in the early 1900s. Above the bison's broad back are the inscriptions United States of America and the national motto E Pluribus Unum, which translates to out of many, one, a timeless phrase symbolizing the unity of the nation's diverse people and states. Beneath the mound, in bold recessed letters, is a denomination 5 cents. The decision to recess the denomination into the design came after earlier issues, 1913 Type 1, experienced rapid wear on the raised text. This small adjustment preserved the clarity of the denomination on later issues like the 1927 coin. The reverse design, rugged and earthy, perfectly complements the obverse portrait. Together, they express the harmony between man, nature, and the land that defined the American spirit in its formative years. The composition of the 1927 Buffalo nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The coin has a plain, smooth edge, and its durability made it suitable for long circulation. The 1927 issue was struck at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 37 million coins, the Denver Mint struck around 5.7 million, and the San Francisco Mint produced about 3.4 million, making the 1927 Buffalo nickel the rarest of the three and one of the scarcer issues in the series. Coins from the San Francisco Mint are known for weaker strikes and lower detail, which makes well-preserved examples especially valuable to collectors. Because of the coin's high-relief design, both sides were prone to wear, particularly on the high point of the Native American's cheekbone and the bison's shoulder and hip. Thus, finding a 1927 Buffalo nickel with full details and original mint luster is a significant achievement in the numismatic world. From a historical perspective, the year 1927 was a fascinating moment in America's story. The nation was enjoying a period of economic prosperity, technological progress, and cultural vitality known as the Roaring Twenties. Automobiles, airplanes, radios, and cinema were transforming everyday life, while cities grew rapidly and industries thrived. However, beneath this progress, there was also a deep sense of nostalgia, a longing for the simplicity and authenticity of the past. The Buffalo nickel embodied that sentiment perfectly. It was a reminder of the untamed wilderness, the Native American tribes who first inhabited the continent, and the mighty buffalo that once roamed in vast herds across the plains. The coin's design was both a tribute and a preservation of that vanishing heritage, serving as a daily symbol of the American story carried in the pockets of millions. In an era dominated by change, the Buffalo nickel connected citizens to their roots, their land, and their shared identity. In numismatic terms, the 1927 Buffalo nickel holds a special place for collectors due to its artistry, historical significance, and the subtle nuances among its mint varieties. The presence of the F initial signifies Fraser's authorship, reminding every collector that this coin was not merely a tool of commerce but also a masterpiece of American sculpture. Collectors pay close attention to certain features when evaluating the coin's condition, such as the clarity of the bison's horn and tail, the texture of its fur, and the sharpness of the Native American's braids and feathers. A well-struck 1927 coin, particularly from San Francisco, can be extremely valuable. Coins graded mint state, MS, are full horn, where the buffalo's horn is fully visible and well-defined, are prized for their beauty and rarity. Meanwhile, Even heavily circulated examples carry great historical charm, as each one represents a tangible connection to early 20th century American life. The cultural significance of the buffalo nickel extends far beyond its monetary function. Fraser's decision to depict Native Americans and an American bison rather than classical European figures was revolutionary for its time. It marked a profound shift in American coinage, an embrace of the nation's own identity rather than a reliance on borrowed symbolism. The coin's design pays homage to two of the most important elements of America's past, its indigenous peoples and its natural landscapes. The Native American portrait reflects strength, wisdom, and heritage, while the bison represents endurance, unity, and the untamed power of the American frontier. Together, they form a visual narrative of America's growth, from its ancestral roots to its modern ambitions. The United States of America 1936 5-cent coin, if referring to the famous buffalo nickel, Indian head nickel, is one of the most historically rich and visually powerful coins ever minted by the U.S. Mint. This coin, struck in 1936, belongs to a series that ran from 1913 to 1938, designed by the celebrated sculptor James Earl Fraser, a former student of the legendary Augusta St. Gaudens. The buffalo nickel's design was chosen to celebrate the rugged individuality, cultural depth, and natural heritage of early America. The F seen on the coin is not a mint mark representing a U.S. Mint facility. It is actually the designer's initial, standing for James Earl Fraser, which appears beneath the date on the obverse side of the coin. Many people mistake it for a mint mark, but it is an artist's signature that immortalizes Fraser's contribution to American coinage. The 1936 issue, one of the later and more abundant years of the Buffalo Nickel series, remains highly collectible and admired for its artistry, historical meaning, and symbolic design that captures the spirit of a changing America during the early 20th century. The obverse side, front, of the 1936 Buffalo Nickel features a proud and powerful portrait of a Native American chief facing right. This portrait is not of one single individual, but a combination of features inspired by several prominent Native American leaders whom Fraser met and sketched. These men are believed to include Iron Tail, a Sioux, Two Moons, a Cheyenne, and possibly John Big Tree, a Seneca. The face expresses nobility, wisdom, and pride, representing the strength and dignity of Native American heritage. The word liberty is engraved along the upper right edge of the coin, and directly beneath the neck is a year 1936, under which you can find the small f initial for Fraser. The overall design is bold, with deeply cut features and a strong sense of realism, making it one of the most striking portraits ever used on U.S. coinage. The detail in the braids, feathers, and facial structure give the coin a sculptural quality that stands out even after decades of circulation. On the reverse side, back of the coin is a majestic image of an American bison, often referred to as a buffalo, standing proudly on a raised mound. This design was modeled after Black Diamond, a real bison that lived at the Central Park Zoo in New York City during the early 1900s. Above the buffalo's broad back appear the inscriptions United States of America and the national motto E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one. This phrase symbolizes the unity of the original 13 colonies forming one nation. Beneath the buffalo, in bold letters, is a denomination 5 cents. Early issues of this coin had the denomination in high relief, but because it wore off too quickly in circulation, the mint recessed it into the design for later strikes, including those of 1936. The powerful stance of the buffalo captures the wild strength of the American West, while the Native American on the obverse and the bison on the reverse together create a vivid representation of America's frontier past and cultural roots. The composition of the 1936 5-cent coin is 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighing 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The coin has a plain edge and was produced at 3 different mints that year: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number, with over 118 million pieces struck, making 1936 one of the highest mintage years in the entire Buffalo Nickel series. This abundance means that circulated examples are still relatively common today, but high-grade uncirculated pieces or proof versions are much rarer and command strong collector interest. The 1936 proof Buffalo Nickel, struck with polished dies and specially prepared planchets, is especially prized, Only 4,420 proof coins were made that year, giving them both scarcity and exquisite beauty, with mirror-like surfaces that show off Fraser's design in its finest form. Historically, the 1936 Buffalo nickel represents an era of transition in the United States. It was minted during the Great Depression, a time when the nation faced economic hardship, but was also rediscovering its cultural identity through art, architecture, and design. The buffalo nickel's imagery evokes nostalgia for the untamed American frontier, the free-roaming herds of buffalo, and the enduring presence of the Native American tribes who were foundational to the nation's story. By 1936, much of that world had already vanished, making the coin not only a medium of exchange but also a memorial to the past. Fraser's intention was to create something uniquely American, something that would remind people of their roots and the values of strength, unity, and perseverance. From a numismatic perspective, the 1936 F Buffalo nickel is a coin that appeals to collectors for both its beauty and its symbolism. The letter F, as mentioned, stands for the artist's name and not a mint mark, but it still adds a layer of personal identity to the coin. Few other American coins include such a visible acknowledgement of their creator. Collectors often study the finer details of the coin strike, looking for sharpness in the Native American's braid and the buffalo's horn, hump, and tail. Coins with full detail, often described as full horn or full tail, are highly sought after. Even though 1936 nickels are generally common, finding one with strong luster, clean surfaces, and well-preserved relief is a true treasure for numismatists. Over time, the nickel's design wore down quickly in circulation, especially on the high points of the bison's hip and the Native American's cheek, which makes mint-state examples particularly desirable. Economically and socially, the 1936 Buffalo nickel circulated during a time of gradual recovery in the United States. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs were in full effect, and coins like the Buffalo nickel were part of the everyday lives of citizens trying to rebuild their futures. Children might have used them for candy or marbles, while adults exchanged them for bus fares or groceries. Every scratch and mark on surviving pieces tells a small part of that larger American story. In conclusion, the 1936 United States of America 5-cent coin bearing the F initial is far more than just a small piece of metal. It is a miniature monument to American identity, artistry, and endurance. With its Native American portrait symbolizing heritage and honor, and its buffalo representing strength and nature, the coin stands as one of the most meaningful and artistically successful designs in U.S. coinage history. The inclusion of James Earl Fraser's F initial immortalizes the hand of the artist who captured the soul of a nation in copper and nickel. Even today, nearly 90 years later, the 1936 Buffalo nickel continues to be admired by historians, collectors, and patriots as a timeless emblem of the American story, one that connects the spirit of the frontier to the enduring legacy of liberty and unity expressed through the proud motto, E pluribus unum.